A lot of whites, a lot of Latinos thought that proximity to whiteness is actually white. A white woman has came to make it clear to them. She said, no matter what you do, if you like, call yourself brown, purple, pink. They don't see you like them. They see you like us. It is funny that Latinos are raged because they are realizing a lot of things. This few period, I love these Gen Z eras, honestly, where we literally see things and say it as it is. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credit to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's fafo. And guys, if you have not subscribed, subscribe. Let's dive right into this video. I will be back with commentaries.
I love this comment because it's really true. And I do think that a lot of Latinos in Miami act like people say, like people in Miami, Latinos in Miami act white. They think they're white. The truth is that a lot of Latinos in Miami are white. And that's a whole other conversation of like Latinidad in and of itself. And like, what the fuck does that mean? And like, is race a social concept? But when you think about it, like if you think of like being Latino, like whatever, as an ethnicity, and then within that ethnicity, we can be all of the races. There's Black Latinos, there's white Latinos, there's Asian Latinos, all of the things, right? Like there's being Latino isn't a race, it's an ethnicity. So we do have the spectrum of, but in and of itself, like what does race matter if it's how you present? Like I'm white, but like people in Miami see me as white, but if I go to like Virginia, they see me as not white, as brown, and I get treated as such, which is an interesting experience because that is my experience. Like growing up in Miami, like, you're trigueña, which just really means like brunette or like tan. But like you leave Miami and then people automatically like they categorize you. And it was interesting because first time I went to Gainesville, I was in college. I was visiting my friends at UF and some fucking frat boy from the Midwest is like, you're thuggetic, where you from? And I'm like, what the fuck, what do you mean where I'm from? I'm from here. Where the fuck are you from? And then living in Northern Virginia and my neighbor from Alabama was like one time like she like token brown girled me. She's like, yeah, the adoption agency like says we have to take like a race and ethnicity course because if we want to adopt a Black baby because whatever. She's like, but I told them I have a diverse group of friends, and then like puts her hand on me and I was like, bitch, first of all, we're not friends, and second of all, if I'm your diversity friend, girl, you need that class, you know what I'm saying? Pero I just feel like it's a really interesting experience. Like and when you're like, when I go to Connecticut to visit like my boyfriend's family, it's like I'm definitely like one thing is not like the other, and I'm the thing that's not like the other. But you don't feel that in Miami. And I agree. A lot of Latinos in Miami like need to, especially los cubanos con los acentos with the thick accents. I'm like, go to Idaho, like go to North Carolina, like go somewhere else, baby, because they don't see you how you see them. Like you see them and you're like peers, and they see you and they're like, no, not peers. And that is an interesting experience. But Latinos inherently are not POC. And I think that that's important because within the Latin American community, we have so much racism and colorism, which is another problem. But again, of course, all of this comes from what? The colonizers. And it's like the proximity to whiteness, to like the Spaniards, and how that like trickled down within like as like the white supremacy among the Latin American community, and how that's still an issue. But that's a whole other conversation.
You will never be a part of the white community, okay? And let me hold your hand while I say this. You will never be a part of the white community. No matter how whitewashed you are, no matter if you don't speak your native language, no matter if you don't have an accent, no matter if you get your steak medium rare, you will never be part of the white community. I myself am Mexican, my husband is white, and the privilege that comes with that, for him, never for me, for him, everything that he doesn't understand. And I don't understand like Hispanics that are just so openly against their own people. I don't get that. I mean, like my son, I am raising him fully rooted in the fact that he knows he's Mexican and he will never be ashamed of that. A lot of people that support different thoughts that don't align with them and what they look like there's a lot of self-hatred in that. There's a lot of lack of self-acceptance. My sister-in-law is white, my husband is white, we are surrounded by white people all the time, and we will never be part of that community. It's insane to me when people shit on their own culture and their own people. And that's just the reality that we live in today.
Hey everyone, how you guys doing? So this message is for Latinos, right? I know that you voted for him. I know. And I know you're regretting your vote. I get it. Where you messed up was you thought you was better than everybody. You thought you was better than everybody. The Puerto Ricans that voted, you thought that you was Americanized or whatever, that you was better than everybody. The Cubans that voted for him, the Venezuelans that voted for him, you thought you was better than everybody. And you just found out that you're the same. You're the same. I don't care if you come from Mexico. I don't care that you come from Colombia, Cuba, Venezuela, Panama, El Salvador. I don't care. We're all Latinos. And we were supposed to take care of each other, and we were supposed to lift each other up. You see how the black people did it? That they all voted? 97% of black people voted for Kamala Harris because they understood the mission. And over 40% of Hispanics voted for this man. And now you're crying. So it's time to put up your big girl's pants and your big boy pants, and you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta fight for yourself. And you gotta fight and fix this destruction that you created. Because Trump didn't put himself in the house himself. You chose that. And as Latinos, we were supposed to be empowered. This country is founded on immigrants, okay? It doesn't matter who brought us here, but this country was built and founded on immigrants, okay? And for you to think that you're white because your skin is white and you forget that you're a Latino and a Latina, that's a shame. So now it's time for you to be grown, pick up your big girls and big boys pants and fight. You should be in the front line. You should be in the front line fighting this battle. Okay? Talk to you later. Have a grown up best day. And you receive everything you deserve. Have a great day. Bye.
Dear Latinos, being racist to other Latinos, indigenous, and black folks will not bring you any closer to the whiteness that you crave so much. And if this message bothers you, then it was probably meant for you.
To the Latinos that voted for him, you will never, and I repeat, never be white. You will never be accepted as one of them, and you certainly are not exempt from the racism that is this racist-ass regime. When that lady put in her post, alligators' lives matter, and she mentioned a number, that number being 65 million. Do you know how many Latinos are in the United States? Approximately 65 million, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Approximately 60 plus million people. So guess what? They weren't just talking about the illegal immigrants, because data actually says that there are 10 to about 12 illegal, undocumented folks in the United States. They're talking about you. They're talking about people like us, because we are not exempt from the racism that is rooted in what these people believe in, and frankly, the foundation of this country that was built on the stealing of land from indigenous people by immigrants that came here from Europe. But when you think that you are better than an immigrant because your family came here the right way, remember that this land was actually stolen from day one. So when you think that you are better because you're second generation or third generation because you've been an American for a longer amount of time, I hope that you never have to experience a time where you have to flee a country for your own safety or that of your family. So when you think that you are somehow not going to be affected by any of this, when you think that you don't have to care, what happens if you are next? What happens if it's someone that you personally know? And I know already because we've seen it. We've seen the clips of people that supported him, diehard supporters that are now crying on the news because their family members are getting deported and they thought that they would never be impacted. You see, in this country, so many people lack empathy. They are unwilling or somehow unable to think beyond themselves, and then we run into these situations. Wake up. The proximity to whiteness isn't serving you, and it's not serving the community. You have to recognize what is happening, because ultimately, they're not just going after criminals. And all of this is connected to so many things that impact our community and frankly are holding us back, like anti-blackness and colorism and internalized racism. And if you think that these are woke words, look them up and you will realize what exists, what has existed in our community for a very long time. And I say all of this because there are so many people that have fallen to the false prophets of the world, and I need us as a community to come together and wake up. So if you're wanting more of this type of content, follow for more, because we need to have this conversation.
Latinos, doesn't matter where you are, Mexico, Cubanos, Argentina, everything, any kind of Latino you can possibly think of, always have thought that the lighter skin you are, the closest to proximity of white that you can be. And the unfortunate part is most Cubans are light-skinned, so they always think that they get a free fucking pass because they're somehow light-skinned enough, but they're never white-skinned enough. And not to mention that Cuba was a fucking dictatorship country, so it makes perfect sense that they want some fascist leader to go ahead and run the country. And not to mention they were colonized by Spain, and they have colorism like a motherfucker. And the internalized racism that they have, because Afro-Cubanos will literally say that they are white without like hesitating at all. I mean, I lived in New York for a very long time, and the Cubanos who think that they're literally white are fascinating to me, because they literally feel as if they are the exception to the rule, but yet they do not know that obviously they were enslaved by Spain, and that they're not only Latino, but most of them are Afro-Cubanos or Afro-Latinos. So, like, it's just fucking wild. That's why.
Buckle up, because we're about to talk about race. Officially, in the US Census, Latino is an ethnic category in that it represents people from all over the world who might identify racially as white, black, or just based on their country of origin. My husband is Dominican. He always tries to write in Dominican on his race. If that's not an option, he'll check white, black, Latino, and other. In the United States, Latino often functions as a race in that white Americans often associate brown skin, a Spanish last name, the Spanish language with an inferior social status. So that means that many Latinos are often discriminated against based on that social category alone. If Latino is not a race, how come there's racism against Latinos? That's an excellent question. Everyone, buckle up again. Buckle up again. We're going to talk about racism. My daughter is 5 years old. She was born in the United States, but the way people assume or categorize her is how she's ascribed racially. And that process of racial ascription often also involves racism. So when she was in preschool, based on her Spanish last name and the fact that I marked on a form that she was bilingual, a preschool teacher treated her quite differently than she treated other children. It didn't matter how my daughter identified. She was associated with an inferior racialized status, and that status was used against her in treatment in the classroom. Teachers at school and employers at work use markers of an inferior racial ascribed category to withhold things like classroom awards or jobs in the labor market from people they assume to be Latino, regardless of how those people actually identified in the first place. Buckle up, let's talk about white people. absolutely Latinos can be white. Someone messaged me saying that she migrated from Brazil. She feels so frequently erased because Brazilians speak Portuguese and not Spanish, for example. And that really stuck with me because a couple of people that I talked to felt like often they were presumed to be white when they didn't actually identify as white. They identified as Latino. One was Brazilian and one was Cuban. And in other cases, they were made fun of for not being Latino enough because the Cuban individual didn't speak Spanish and his peers thought that he should. And the Brazilian individual had an Italian last name, but didn't really identify with his Italian roots as much as his Brazilian ones. So there's so much diversity among Latinos, but a lot of that diversity gets flattened when they interact with Americans in the United States.
Why do self-hating Latinos get so angry when you remind them that they are not white?
I've always been very intrigued by this phenomenon, and it reminds me of two different stories. Okay, so this first one, I overheard this girl tell another girl, both girls are Hispanic in this story, and one girl says to the other girl, you know, you really look like Eva Longoria, who is a beautiful woman. The other girl responds and says, oh, really? I think I really look like Dakota Johnson. Yes, this Dakota Johnson, who was also a beautiful woman. But I was just like, wait, you think you look like a white woman? And the other girl was just like, what? And then this other story, also another conversation that I overheard. It was two Hispanic people having a conversation again. This was at work. And this girl was very clear that, you know, she was Latina, but she had blue eyes. And she tells this guy, who's a very proud Salvadorian, she says to him, yeah, just me and my family, we're all like super white passing, you know, with our blue eyes. And he held her hand and he said, I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this, but ma'am, you do not look white. And it honestly looked like her life ended that day.
Marco Rubio was reminded that no matter how high you get in this administration, it doesn't matter how much you do, you are still not white.
It is a good thing. It's reciprocated. It comes back the other way as well. And so the fact the president is here today and making this a priority is so critical. If I may, because some of these cameras cover in Spanish. You all right? Oh, good. We don't need an interpreter for this one. Quiero darle las gracias. I think I'm a good interpreter. You'll find out in a second. But las gracias a los países que están aquí hoy. Estos países. Primero, el presidente ha hecho esta región una prioridad.
Is he better in Spanish or in English? I think he's better in Spanish. I mean, it's great. Pete, please.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, I only speak American.
Now, for starters, I'd love for the alcoholic to explain to everybody in the class what speaking American is, because last time I checked, that's not a language. But in any case, we see this moment where Pete basically takes a jab at Marco and says, hey, just a reminder, you're not a true American. Now, when I started making this video, I originally took pleasure in seeing that because, like so many of us who still yet don't understand how anyone who is Latino and came from immigrant ancestors and family could ever support anything that this man is doing. Now, Marco Rubio's parents were immigrants. They migrated from Cuba to Miami, Florida, where Marco was born. And that's why a lot of people have been so critical of him, because it's like, how? Like, you came from a family that migrated here. How are you supporting these mass deportations and kind of going against your own people? And it's really a part of a bigger conversation that we've all been having since last year, since we kind of all really saw how many Latinos were supporting Trump is, you know, what happened? At what point did we not all feel the same way about immigration and our people? And while it's easy to look at this and be happy, and it honestly makes me sad. Because at the end of the day, and say what you want, maybe I am a little too sentimental, but that's still a Latino. That's still one of my people. And I don't take pleasure in anyone that looks like me being humiliated, and really anybody. But I do want to take this moment to remind everybody that is still supporting Trump, who came from immigrants just like Marco, who are Latinos, who speak Spanish, who got the nopal strictly on their forehead. And I just want to take the moment to remind you that no matter how high you climb and no matter how much of the juice you drink, they're never going to accept you. See, for a lot of us, when our families came over, they wanted to assimilate, they wanted to blend in. And it wasn't because, at least in my experience, they wanted to be white. It was because they just wanted to be left alone. They didn't want to stick out because they knew that that would, possibly end up in their deportations. But if you're a Latino in the US, your family somewhere along that family tree migrated here. And regardless on whether they did it the legal way or the whatever way, the times have changed. And for a lot of those who have supported the mass deportations because they say that, you should have done it the legal way, analyze what year your family did it the legal way. Was it easier? Was it under amnesty from Mr. What was his fucking name? Ronald Reagan, damn it. Was it when Ronald Reagan gave everybody amnesty? Or was it when the immigration system wasn't as difficult or as costly or overwhelmed as it is now? And I'll end it here because I don't want to get too far deep into this, but to every Latino that still supports Trump, it's okay to say, hey, I messed up. I didn't think it was going to be this way. I thought it was just going to be all the criminals. You can still say, I was wrong. I was lied to. I was manipulated. Because I think by now, if you still haven't woken up, brother, it's going to be a hard time for you. He's already got us into another war. The economy is not any better. And he's definitely not a Christian. So many of the issues on that so many Latinos voted for. Listen, the arms are always open. The chair is always free. There's always food at the table for you. It's still not too late. You can still make this right. We have the midterms coming up. And you can still say, hey, yeah, I'm American, but I'm not going to forget my roots.
Anyways, welcome back and thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys literally enjoyed every single clip I was able to roll out for you guys. And guys, I love it when people are literally finding out the hard way. I keep saying it. A lot of Latinos think that proximity to whiteness is actually white, but proximity to whiteness can never be white. I don't know why a lot of them don't want to understand this. It can never be white. It can never. And I don't know why, I don't know what is making a lot of Latinos, Hispanics, to feel like whenever they are standing, because they voted for the orange man, that they are going to regard them more than black Americans. See, even the orange man, he respects black. Forget what he's acting whenever he's on camera or whenever the news reporters are trying. Forget what he's tweeting. Forget all of those things. Between him, he knows that black people are very important. He knows. He has said it on countless occasions. So if the orange man can know, understand, and respect black people, even when he's trying so hard not to show that he's respecting them, who are thou, Latino? Who are thou, mountain that will not be moved? Who are thou, mountain that will not be moved? Because it's surprising when at every point in time, Latinos want to be crying out for black people to help them. Latinos want to always say, oh, why are black people not helping us? But they are not saying, why are white people not helping us? Because you voted for these people. You love these people. You idolize these people. Why can't they stand for you? So it is only when there is fire on the mountain, run, run, run. That is when Latinos want to realize that they need black people support. We need to stand in solidarity. I love it, the fact that some Latinos have said it as well, that they have literally not done anything to earn any respect coming from black people or to help or any solidarity. eyes is still doing his job. A lot of them are crying. There are some videos we just choose not to bring here because at the end of the day, people should just be crying and be wailing. It's none of our business. But I can tell you for a whole fact that a lot of Latinos are regretting right now. A lot of them are regretting. They know that they have literally messed up. They knew. So no matter how they want to sugarcoat it, how they want to turn it, they knew that we are literally the problem. So they're looking for ways right now where they can actually come together with black people, where they can be as one, where they can love each other, blah blah blah. But black Americans are not giving them that space, because I keep saying it, once bitten twice shy. You cannot continue to dine with the devil, because one day he's gonna do you get what I'm trying to say? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Credit to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks. Also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And yes, guys, with that being said, with no further ado, like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.